Recording in progress.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Miss Green. I'm well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank God.
Good, good, good.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Yeah, same here. Likewise.
Yes, ma'am. A little tired just getting off of work. I've had a long day.
Oh boy, I think we all did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm back. Oh boy, I'm kind of pushing it as usual. Oh
Yes.
boy.
Oh, yes.
Mm, I thought I saw Dr. Ben. Okay, there you go. Hi, how are you? Good evening.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm doing well. Good to see you tonight. Mm. All right. Well, good evening, great evening to each and every one of you. Can you hear me okay? All right. All right. Well, it's always a pleasure to be back. Big salute to Dr. Green, sir. I know you're listening in wherever you are. And to Evangelist Green, the host. Good to see you tonight, as usual. And those in the Zoom room, glad to have you here as always. And everybody joining in. We appreciate you being with us once again. We're going to try to finish up tonight dealing with effective ways to get unstuck. And so hopefully we can have some dialogue tonight that'll carry us through the rest of the evening. I'm going to try to cover the things that we talked about and be able to move forward with the little bit that we do have left. And then we can just kind of have a conversation about how to get ourselves in a better position. So we're going to work through it as quickly as we possibly can, but at the same time, giving room for questions. So if you're listening in and you can put your questions in the chat or put the questions in Facebook, we can try to get your questions answered as soon as possible. All right. And so hopefully we'll get some other folks in the Zoom room as well, and that'll help us out. But in the meantime, it'll be on Evangelist Green and Sister Kara. Y'all help me out here. All right. Yeah. So effective ways to get unstuck. Okay. So we're going to go through it really quick. And I just want you to think a little bit about where you are and what you're trying to work on. Number one, you identify what you really want, right? That's the first thing that we always have to do is identify what we really want. And remember what I said before is it doesn't have to be in any one particular area of life. We're looking in our life wheel, and we always need to have a point of aim, right? So what's the aim? What's the upward climb? Where am I going? Whether that be economically, it can be emotionally, physically, psychologically, socially, spiritually. It doesn't matter. Whatever the category of life you're looking at that and you're measuring where you are, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being my very best life, what is it that I want to achieve? And what is that goal? What is that point of aim? And that's the destination, right? And so when I know what it is that I want, the second thing I have to do is know why I want it, right? Because what is why and why is what, right? What I want is why I commit. But why I want it is what takes me to completion, right? And so I have to know what I want, but I also have to know why I want it. What's my why? What am I striving? Why am I striving so hard to get whatever it is that I'm trying to get, right? And then you have to tell the truth to yourself about yourself, because you need real data. You need real information that you're working with in order for you to improve. So you got to get to the truth, right? It's the truth that liberates. And so we need to know the truth. What is the actual factual about myself? Number 4, being completely honest about the past, because that's where your data points are, right? And so using introspection and retrospection, looking back over your life, looking back at the things that you've experienced and getting the real data, right? So that I know what I've done, what I've been able to produce up to this point. And then we'll gather that information and use it by looking for number 5, patterns or trends. I want to look at what's been working. I want to look at what hasn't been working. And then I can assess or analyze why it hasn't been working or what has been working, right? What went right before everything went wrong. I want all of that data. Okay. Then number 6, name 3 things you have done in the past that you can no longer do, because I have to improve upon the information that I find out. So once I find out some things that maybe have been working against me or not been working in my favor, I got to name those 3 things that I've done in the past that I can no longer do, because I can't continue to repeat the same things, right? Then once you find that out, you have to surrender completely, because it takes what it takes for you to improve, right? So you got to surrender completely, because it's always going to cause for you to do some things that may be uncomfortable, maybe some things that you may not like to do, but you're gonna have to go against what you've been doing in order to get some different results. Number 8, you have to decide if the price is too much to pay. At that point, you're at the point of decision, right? I got to make a decision. And that decision is, am I going to stay the same, or I'm going to push myself into a better position? And it's going to really, really require for you to do some things that may be, like I said, uncomfortable. You have to leave your comfort zone and get into your fear zone and start to move forward. Okay. And by doing that, I got to gather new information, which is number 9, right? I got to gather new information, because now it's the information phase where I'm learning some new things. And so that's what I'm doing right now. Right now, you're gathering new data, gathering new information. When you get that new information, you have to, number 10, you have to go to an altitude where the pressurization is given in a given situation is no longer required. So I got to move above the normal pressures of life, the things that keep me doing the same thing repetitively. But I've got to rise above that now, because I got new information that I'm working with, and I've got to go to 10,000 feet. I got to get myself above that. So I got to begin to look down at the situation so I can see the whole thing, get me a macro view, right? Get away from the micro situations, get a macro view of what I'm dealing with, and then begin to work downward, right? I'm working back down now to ground level, but I got to do it from the top, right? And then number 11, you got to set a date to start with an estimated date of completion, which I think is so important, because so many of us never really get started with anything that we want to do. At some point, you got to get started. You can't finish something that you never start. Yes. Yeah. So it's important. Right. 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 And so as you gather that data, and that's why journaling is going to be so important. We'll talk about that a little bit here tonight as well, because as you're going through, you're documenting all the information that you're gathering so that you have real data points. And so we'll talk about that a little as we go forward. So we talked about setting the data start, estimated data completion, and then you got to move your body, right? Refer to your action plan. You got to take action. Once you know what it is that you're doing, you got to take action. You can't just be stuck in a position where you're just planning. You got to go and take action. Taking deliberate action, you need at least 3 things that you can do repetitiously. So we looked at 3 things that we've done in the past that we can no longer do. Now you have to look for 3 things that you know you can do, and you can do those things repetitiously, right? That becomes important. So, and those are things that are benefiting you. Those are things that make the process advantageous, because you know it works for you. And so these are going to be the 3 things that you're going to do repetitiously. Then you got to plug into your resources, right? Look at all the resources that you have. Stay charged, stay informed with the best information, because you're plugged in. That's important. You got to stay plugged in. And that's why I say, you can also look at, regular attendance to service as a part of it. That's plugging in. That's staying plugged in so you receive the best information that you can possibly have by staying plugged in, right? That's important. Number 15, rest, recharge, and refocus on self-care. It's important for us to know how to take care of ourselves, because if we cannot properly take care of ourselves, it's very difficult for us to take proper care of other people. Okay. So you got to rest, you got to recharge, you got to refocus on self-care. Number 16, stay in motion to completion. So I know I just can't start something. I have to stay in motion, and I have to complete it. And that's important as well. Stay in motion to completion. And I do that by not stopping, which is number 17, right? Is do not stop. Most of us are doing the right things, but we're just not doing them long enough. We keep stopping. And every time you stop, trust me, when you stop something, it's harder for you to get back started again, right? And so you want to keep moving. You want to keep moving. Do not over-identify with the situation. You know what I said? Not I am stuck, but I feel stuck, right? You want to deal with how you feel, and you want to move based off that, as opposed to identifying or over-identifying with the situations that you go through in your life. Then number 19 is do not make the stuck area the only thing in your life. So you're going to be stuck in some areas of your life, But in other areas of your life, you're moving and you're getting things done, right? So you don't have to necessarily stay focused on the things that you may not be necessarily having the greater amount of success, but you have other things that you're working on as well, which is part of the reason why you want to be a little holistic in everything that you're doing. So where you don't see success here, you may see success over there, and it will build that positivity that you need in order to go back and tackle the thing that's seemingly more difficult. Do not beat yourself up. So silence the inner critic. A lot of times we can be so critical of ourselves, right? Some of us can even be
Thank
addicted.
you. My name is Sandra, and I'm calling for client number 1350.
All right. Some of us can even be addicted to criticism, right? And so we want to make sure that that we don't overly criticize ourselves. Okay. And then no BCD, which is blame, complaining, and defending. Okay, no blaming, no complaining, no defending. It's very difficult to be successful when that's the mindset that you have. So you're looking to blame others, complaining without solutions, or defending your current position, right? Defending the current position that you're in, or the current action that you're taking. Okay. So that takes us all the way down to 21. And let's go. We're going to go through 2022 on. Do not doubt your ability or your capacity, right? We talk about your current skill because your ability is about your current skill, right? Either mental or physical. And then your capacity is the potential to develop a skill. Okay. Now, this is about your belief system. So what your ability, belief in your ability and belief in your capacity. Okay. 23 is stop comparing yourself to others. Compare yourself against standards, right? Don't compare yourself to other people. You want to compare yourself against the standards. And that's why we have the scriptures to tell us what the standards are. We're not necessarily concerning ourselves with what we see other people doing. We're concerning ourselves with what the standard is, and we're measuring ourselves against that standard. Okay? Whether I know I need to improve or not, it's not based on what other people are doing. It's based on what the scriptures say, or whatever that standard is. Okay? Number 24 is find a group or partner and be accountable. And I think this one is extremely important because this is all about who I'm running with, right? I want to run with a pack, right? And when I run with a pack, I'm not running by myself. I'm running with a pack because it helps for me not to be alone. Okay? That's important for me to run with a pack or find an accountability partner, somebody that is one, holding themselves accountable. That person can help hold me accountable. And so I want to always have, I like to call them a righteous accountability partner because that person already knows how to keep the standard and they can help me do the same. Okay? If and when I ever feel like giving up, that I can do it. Excuse me, the accountability partner helps remind me that I can do it. Okay. When you have a righteous accountability partner, you have someone.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. 25 is to develop new skills and make learning fun. Develop new skills and make learning fun. So you have to have a new mindset. You have to have a new skill set, and you also have to have a good attitude. Okay? These are all effective ways to get unstuck, right? Develop new skills. So how do I improve my skill set? Learn something new. Develop a new skill set. Work on my mindset. Work on my attitude. All things that will help you to get unstuck and help you to improve. It also makes leadership, mentorship, coaching, modeling. It makes it easier when you have that. Okay. Well, set a time to practice with it, which is 26. Set a time to practice with it and keep up the practice. Okay. Now, as an amateur, what you're doing is you're practicing so that you can get it right. Professionals create an environment of practice until they cannot get it wrong. And that's what you're doing, right? First of all, you're trying really hard to get it right. And then once you find out that you're getting it right, then you're working so hard that you can't get it wrong. And that's the idea, is to get to that point, right? We're talking about the difference between managing something very well and then mastering it over time. This is what I'm doing. Okay, so practice is important. Okay, 27 is progress, not perfection. Okay, right? Progress, not perfection. You hear people often say practice makes perfect, right? No, it doesn't. Practice does not make perfect, but it does make you good. Okay, you got to be careful what we say. We love cliches, but that's not true. Practice don't make you perfect, but it does make you really good. And so what you have to do is you have to keep working, no matter what it is. You have to keep working and keep working, because it's that repetition that makes you good at what you do. Does it mean you're going to be perfect? No, because you're going to always make mistakes, right? You're not always going to get it right, but the intention is always there because you worked on it over and over and over and over again, right? So even if you don't get the results you want, you're still confident in the steps that you've taken to get those results, right? And so that's why it's important. All right. I'm going to give you a quote that goes along with this here, because we want you to get this really quick. So here's the quote. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? You see a reflection of you. The mirror can only reflect what you project. What you do about the image you see is within your control. The power of true reflection is within you. Display in the mirror what you desire to see, and do not allow imperfection to skew your self-perception. So I see that. So that's a lot for you to look at. I know y'all don't absorb it that fast, but there's a lot for you to chew on right there.
And it is a lot. Can you elaborate on that last sentence and break it down for me?
Okay. All right. Make sure you get a screenshot of that, because I'll do that on the next screen.
Okay, I did.
All right. Everybody good? All right. So let's talk about what that means. Okay. So this quote means that when you look in the mirror, you're only seeing a reflection of what you already show to the world. It does not create anything new. It just reflects what is there. However, how you choose to respond to that reflection is completely up to you. You have the inner power to decide how you see yourself and what you become. So if you want to see something better or more positive in the mirror, start by changing what you project, and do not let small flaws or insecurities distort the way you view yourself. You see that? So that's where you talk about imperfection and self-perception, right? Do not let small flaws or insecurities distort the way you view yourself. Does that make sense? All right, fantastic. All right. Let's go to number 28 here real quick. Let's always remember what it was like to feel stuck. When you felt stuck before, you know what that feeling was like. So you want to always revert back to that, right, as a reference point to remember what that felt like. So you do not allow yourself to drift back into that same state again, right? So once you've been freed from that, don't allow yourself to drift back into that state. Always remembering what that state felt like. What was that feeling like for you? And so if you can relate to that feeling, you will understand when you're drifting back in that direction. So self-reflection is important, right? It's okay to reflect, just not long enough to relive. So I don't want to relive the experience, but I do want to reflect upon it. Right? So self-reflection is important. I want to be able to reflect on everything. That's why, it's like even things that I have to forgive, I don't want to forget, because it's important for me to be able to make that reference point, right? I want to be able to reflect on that, right? To get the data points from it, but I don't want to relive it. We don't want to put negative things on replay, but I do want to be able to relate to it. So I want to be able to reflect back on it, take the positives as well as the negatives that I learned from it. I want to leverage that in the moment as well as in the future, right? Because I'm making decisions based off real data points. And so I want to have that, but I want to remember what it felt like to be in that situation so I don't return back to it. Okay, that's number 28. You can take a screenshot of that for those of y'all that are in the room. You want this before I leave, because I'm going to go to the next screen. Self-reflection, right? What it was like to be in that position, not just what it felt like, but what it was like. All right. Any questions on any one of those? So we're going to be wrapping it up here in a little bit, and then we'll have some talk time. Because I really like working in the moment, right? To help you all get through whatever you're dealing with. Okay.
Good evening, Doc. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Could you go back on the reflect and relive and reflect for me for a moment? Relive and reflect. Could you go back on that for me?
Yeah. So I talked about it's okay to reflect, just not long enough to relive.
Okay.
All right. So let me give you a natural example so that it kind of brings the point home. When you're living your life day to day, let's draw upon the analogy of driving. When you're driving, right, you're moving. So your focus while you're driving is your front view, right? Because that's the direction that you're heading. But in order to be an effective driver, you must be aware of what's alongside as well as what's behind you. But those are quick viewpoints. It's not where your focus lies. Your focus is always in the direction that you're going. So your front view is where your focus is. But your quick points that you have to make reference to are your peripherals and what's behind you. So you check your left mirror, you check your right mirror, and you constantly look in your rear view mirror to look at the things behind you, but you don't focus there. So when you're talking about reflection and not reliving, it's kind of that same kind of mentality. I just look real quick in my my right mirror, I look in my rear view mirror, but it's a quick glance, see what's behind me, see where I've come from. Before I get ready to make a move, I always got to check my left and my right.
Yes.
Check behind me, but I'm doing that. Even though I've passed that point, I still need that data to make my next move, right?
Yes.
And so when I look back over my life, I want to be able to reflect on that information or reflect on that experience, whether it be a positive experience or a negative experience. I want to reflect on it, but I don't want to relive it. And you relive it by getting stuck there.
Yes. Yeah. You cannot go forward and be looking backwards or the next side at the same time and be effective going forward. You can't.
Yeah, you'll crash and burn in a heartbeat.
That's right.
Yeah, you crash and burn in a heartbeat, right? So you got to keep your eyes in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Like the writer says, keep your eyes on the prize, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm going to take quick glances but my focus is forward. So you can write that down. Focus forward with quick glances, because it's hard to defeat a person who has a focused front and a clear rear view. I got a quote that talks about that as well. Having a focused front and a clear rear view, it's hard to defeat a person who has that. Because their eyes are on their destination. They're focused clearly on the front, what's in front of me, right? But they have a clear rear view of the road travel, all of my experiences. And I'm working with that data that keeps me from doing the same things that didn't bring about success in the past.
That's right.
Okay, does that make sense? Anything else?
Yeah. Yes. That's it from me right now.
Okay. All right, let's go to number 29 here really quick. Okay. Number 29, do something outside your comfort zone. Okay. Do something outside of your comfort zone. Life begins outside of my comfort zone. Write that down. Life begins outside my comfort zone. Okay. Life begins outside my comfort zone. And remember what we said before, right? Most of us never really accomplish what we're capable of doing because of what we're comfortable doing. Most of us never really achieve what we're capable of doing because of what we're comfortable doing. And what you're comfortable doing is keeping you from getting to what you're capable of doing. And getting to what you're capable of doing calls for you to leave your comfort zone, right? And remember, when you leave your comfort zone, you go into your fear zone, push your way through your fear zone into the learning zone, push yourself through the learning zone into the growth zone, and push yourself through the growth zone into the strength zone. But again, these are all things that will only be done if you're willing to actually do them. Okay.
Dr. Akins, can you please repeat that last statement about the zone to the zone, the clearing?
Yes. The comfort zone to your fear zone.
Okay, comfort to fear,
And then fear zone to learning zone.
Mm-hmm.
Then learning zone to growth zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then your growth zone into your strength zone.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I really love talking about the zones because that's where your challenges are for most people. That's where your challenges are. And most people never really maximize their full potential because they don't push themselves to get through this process. Because the process can be a grind, it can be grueling sometimes. But if you want to achieve, you have to be willing to go through these zones. You got to be willing to push yourself through these zones. If not, you end up underachieving. Okay, so ask yourself, like, what am I working on? It's part of the reason why I think it's important for us to always pursue continuous learning. Like, actually, that's why I say it's tough. It's tough to be able to say, well, you know, I challenge myself with what I'm going to do. It's like if you find yourself, if you do a simple thing like you say, I'm gonna challenge my psychological skills and increase my learning, and I'm gonna do that by purchasing a new book. That's gonna be a challenge, right? Because I gotta not only get the book, but then I've got to commit time to doing it, and then I've got to be disciplined enough to do it every day, right? Get the information, right? As I go through the information, I may use a highlighter or I may use a journal to jot down the information that the author is trying to get across to me, things that jump out at me or I find important. I highlight those things or I jot those things down, things that I can say are beneficial to me. and I start to record that data for myself. And then after that, I've got to keep going because many of us will start reading a book and then we never finish. So you have to ask yourself, like, when is the last time I've done something like that? Or enroll in a course that challenges me, right? Try to pick up a new skill. It's going to challenge you to do that. And so when you look at that, I like to ask, especially like when I'm working with clients and stuff one-on-one, what have you done in the last 12 months that you can say that you are proud of? What have you done? What have you accomplished? So you look at yourself in the last 12 months, in the last year, what have you accomplished? What have you done that shows that you've been working on something? What have I been working on? What have I improved? Okay. Any questions on that? All right.
Every direction you take this this statement you just made there is a challenge, because it's easy for someone to overemphasize what they did or did not do, because it's in the head or in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So honesty is what's needed right there. Because just to make yourself, oneself looks good,
mm-hmm.
In what they are saying to someone to be a part of the crew, can be easy to say anything.
Right. I'm tracking.
You get where I'm coming from?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Which is, I have my profession for over 34 years is finance, which is part of the reason why I love finance, is because in finance, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. You understand? So everything can be quantified, right? And so now I use the metrics, I get the numbers, and that's like the document. Yeah, the documentation is the conversation. So whenever we're talking, whenever when I give appraisals, when I deal with my employees, it's all about what the numbers say. Like you can tell me, like, I've been working hard every day. I've been processing this number of mod requests. Like, that stuff all sounds good when you say it. But if I can go to the system and I can actually quantify how many mod requests you were processing, I've processed this amount of mod requests for that amount of money, right? This amount of contract. Like, I can actually go get that data. So now you can't catastrophize. Like, you can't say, well, I've done this or I haven't done that. The numbers will tell me exactly what you've done. And so, like, at the end of the day, that's why I say it doesn't mean anything if you don't improve. If it doesn't produce anything, you have to produce some real data. So I want to be able to see, like, what have you produced? That's important. You follow me? Like, look at the parable of the talents. Right? When the master comes back, the master's going to itemize what you've done. Show me the numbers. What do the numbers say? I know what you have. I know what I gave you. Show me what you turned it. Did you flip it? Show me what you turned it into. Yeah. Like, what did you do? What did you turn it into? If I gave you 5, you should be able to flip that and give me back 10.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If I gave you 2, you should be able to flip that and give me 4.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what you've done. But if you ain't did anything with it, I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Show me what the numbers say. So that's why I tell people we have to be purpose-driven, but what also drives us are the results that we get. So what are your results?
Exactly.
Yeah, what are your results?
Mm-hmm.
So you can ask a question like you could say, I've done this before, but you ask a question, and I was trying to help a pastor who invited me to speak there one day. And so we had a conversation about the mission and what he was looking to accomplish. And let's look at the vision. And with the vision, of course, we need growth, right? I mean, we need growth. It has to happen exponentially. We need growth. And so in order for us to grow, we've got to do that with human capital. Does that make sense when I say it that way? Right? Growth requires human capital.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it takes human capital to constitute. Right? Now, so I asked the question, so how many in here, right, would love to see your congregation grow? Now watch this.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody does what? In that situation, what do you think everybody does? What does everybody do? Everybody puts their hands up, right? So let's play the
That's
game.
right.
Everybody, okay, so now watch this. Everybody puts their hand up. And then, so I didn't say put them down. I said, put your hand up and keep it up. This is what I did. I said, put your hand up and keep it up because I want to make sure I account for everyone. Everybody got yes, they did. Okay. Now here's what I want you to do before you put your hand down. What I want you to do is I want you to look around. Look around and count the number of people who are sitting in the pews next to you because of you in the last 12 months.
Mm.
See now, okay, so now the game changes. Because you had to, because that's what you said you want. You want to see that. But here's the thing, though.
Yes.
You can't get participation points. Where's your participation points? Because it's impossible to experience growth without human capital.
Mm.
So you need to reproduce yourself. Is someone else sitting in this environment because I worked, I labored, I witnessed, that's my, you follow me? This is the work that I went out and reproduced.
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not doing that, then the
That's
question,
right.
what's that about? How are you supposed to grow without that work?
No growth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just an invitation. It's the labor associated with reproduction. Like how that reproduction, how do I do that? Like, think about it. When a husband and wife reproduce, right? She don't do that overnight. She's got to carry that.
No.
Yeah, she's got to carry that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to cater to that. She carries it, he caters to it until they bring it to fruition. That's going to take, in a normal setting, it's going to take about 9 months, close to almost 10. It's going to take that long. And you're going to have to work together in order to get that done. Okay, so in order for you to reproduce, it ain't going to be one conversation you have with a coworker. It's, are you willing to go through that process that it takes? Now you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of your comfort zone now.
Exactly.
And how to reproduce yourself. Something to think about, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's when you can tell when you
Definitely.
really got the skill set. Does your stuff work? When you're sitting in somebody's home for over 6 months before they ever come to the sanctuary, but they eventually become because you've been laboring with it. See, like we love to talk about that. Don't we talk about labor? Oh, we've been laboring with this person. We love terminology, right? Oh, I've been laboring with this person. No, really? Have you been laboring with them? What does that even mean? Like, right? If you've been laboring with them, at the end of the day, if a doctor tells you that your wife been in labor, we've been laboring with her. I mean, at some point at the end of the labor, we supposed to produce something, don't we?
That's right.
At the end, you're supposed to come out with something. And everybody's supposed to be excited with what you came out with. So at the end of your labor, I love to hear people talk about, I've been laboring. Okay, at the end of your labor, where's the baby? Where's the baby? What did you produce?
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Results matter.
Results. Yes. Results is key.
Results matter. Anybody ever had a hard day's work? Anybody ever felt tired after work? Man, I worked so hard today. Right? Watch this. When you get done with your work day, here's my question to you as your supervisor. Is where's the baby? Where's the baby? You don't get to say you worked hard and you don't have no baby. So where's the baby? And some of you don't take time to eat. You work hard every day, but you don't take time to account for the babies that you produce. And you need to do that. You need to take time. Listen, what generally happens in the hospital? Don't the hospital account for the babies that are born in their hospital?
Yes, sir.
They do. They account for the babies. You need to start accounting for your babies. Because on your tough days, you can reflect. On your tough days, you can reflect. Listen, I'll give you an example. If you're a mechanic and you're fixing cars, every car you fix, before you let it leave, before you let it drive out of your garage, you need to take a picture of your car. If you're a barber, guess what? Every time you cut a head, guess what you should be doing? You should be taking a picture of that haircut. The picture is for you. That's the baby that you produce. Let me, like when I get done, I work really hard today. Well, how many babies did I have? Man, I got 9 babies. Here's all 9 of them. I'm looking at it. All right, if I got 9 babies today, the next day I got 12 babies. The next day I got 8 babies. So when I look at my week, remember, every day, the most I looked at everything he was done, and he said, behold, it is good. Behold means to take a good look. I got to look at what I've done. Some of you are not capturing your babies. You're not accounting for them. You're just doing the work, but you're not accounting for the delivery. So you can't celebrate yourself. Some of y'all looking at me like that's foreign. It's foreign to you because you don't do it. You have to account for that. Right? So you look at every day. Monday, I'm working hard. Babies. Tuesday, I'm working hard. Babies. Wednesday, I'm working hard. Babies. Thursday, I'm working hard. Babies. Friday, I'm working hard. Babies. When I get to that day of rest, I should be able to look back over all I've done for that week and say, behold, it is very good.
Yeah.
Right? Now I can quantify how productive I've been from week to week, from day to day, from week to week, from month to month, from year to year. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
These things are important.
Very important.
It helps you realize the value you to the hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the value of an hour, but it's the value you bring to an hour. It'll help you be able to understand how valuable that is. Like if you work in customer service,
that's right.
how many customers, right, did you service?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to look at that.
I always love simple analogy.
Sure.
Lets you look back at things you miss sometimes.
Yes. If you're in sales, you don't think they keep up with how many sales you have per day? Yes. They calculate those sales. When you go to McDonald's, I guarantee you, they're calculating how many burgers are sold, fries, shakes. They keep up with that data because decisions are made based on your productivity.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on that. You learn what should be cut and what should not. If this ain't selling, if this ain't working, then I can make an adjustment. If you're looking for the next person to promote, it could be professionally, it could be an assembly. How do I know that this brother over here should be a deacon?
Yes.
What does the data say?
Mm-hmm.
But if I ain't been keeping up with the data, well, how am I evaluating this process? I got to look out amongst and I got to choose. So everybody gets to know that that's not a decision made on favoritism. Here are the numbers. Here what the results say. I have to know what the criteria is. I need to know what I'm measuring it against. And then I can say, okay, this based on the numbers, based on the data that I have. Some of us aren't being great leaders. Great leaders should always have data. Because that's how our decisions are made. Our decisions are made off of real data.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're calculating that. So do something outside of your comfort zone. All right, let's move forward. Number 30. Find something you are passionate about and pursue it. Is there something else that you're passionate about? Because what you're doing right now may be paying the bills, but it may not be what you're passionate about. And that's why I say supplement with your passion, because most of us are paying the bills. So we make career choices, right? Because it makes business sense. I get it, right? And everything that we get hired to do is not necessarily what we're passionate about. But if you're doing the work that you're hired to do and it's not what you're passionate about, that's not the time to complain. Make your money and put your money to get used, right? Make the money, then make the money work for you. But at the same time, find something else that you're passionate about and then pursue that, because that's how you supplement, right? Because purpose plus energy and excitement equals passion. Find something that I am passionate about and then pursue that. That may not necessarily be about money. That may be about, right? It just may be about volunteering.
Yeah, that's true.
It puts you in alignment with other people. It gives you new opportunities. And so you have to look for that. You have to look for the opportunities to be able to get in alignment with your passion. It also helps you feel fulfilled.
It's such a good feeling when you do something that makes you feel fulfilled. It's a good feeling.
Yes, absolutely.
It makes you want to keep pushing.
Yes. And it doesn't necessarily feel like work.
No. Because you're always looking forward for the maximum out of what you're doing. And you say, wait a minute, did I do all this? It's time to question yourself. Wow, when did I do this?
Mm-hmm.
But you're plowing forward, with a mindset of achieving.
Yes. So find something that you're passionate about and pursue it, right? Okay. 31. This is a good one. Get out of your own head. Get out of your own head. Because if you're in your own head, you're in your own way. Okay?
That's right. Tripping over your own feet.
You have to shift your perspective. A stomach block or a stepping stone is a matter of perspective. How do you see it? Right? Do you see it as an obstacle or do you see it as an opportunity? It's all about your mindset. It's how you see it. How do you see challenges? How do you see the things that you face on a daily basis? How do you see it? It's a leadership challenge. How do you see it? Things are going to happen, right? Get out of your own head. One of the things I know as a supervisor, I take a lot of pride in is making sure that I create the culture, create an environment that employees can grow and thrive in, right? And so one of the things that I talk about with my employees all the time is I want them to have the proper perspective on what they do every day.
Yeah.
That's my job, is to make sure that I help them have a healthy perspective on what they do. Because I give them things to think about. I'm like, you're an analyst, right? You're an analyst. Your job is to be able to analyze the data, whatever that data is. What do the numbers say? What does the plan say? When you look at the plan, you look at the numbers, you look at all your projections. You have to look at that data. And what does read the data and tell me what the data says. You have to analyze that data so that we know how to move.
Yeah.
Now, based on all that information, everything is not going to work perfectly. Here's the truth. If it did, we wouldn't need you.
Exactly.
We wouldn't need you. Why would we need an analyst if everything was going to work right? All we need is a person that makes decisions and go. I don't need you to analyze anything. If everything's going to always work the way that we want it to work, then we don't need you. The reason why we have you is when we have to manually go to work on things that do not work. So now what we need is we need human beings that can analyze this data, find the pain points. Let's figure out what the next decision is going to be. So you have to look for, you got to embody that. In order for us to be real good, you got to embody that. It's almost like, I like to tell my folks, I say, we like the geek squad here. We like the geek squad. Nobody comes into the geek squad with a fully working operational computer. Man, if I'm going to see the geek squad, something's wrong with my computer.
That's right.
So why are you getting upset when somebody bring you a problem? Man, that's what you here for.
Mm-hmm.
You here for the problems. So what you have to be is a problem solver. And it's hard to do that without a clear head. You got to have a perspective.
Yes.
Right? So here's what I tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Green, I tell them this. I say, you get paid to deal with our problems. I get paid to deal with the people. So I tell them, I'm like, listen, if anybody interrupts your peace, redirect them to me. That's what you redirect them to me, because you're not getting paid to deal with that. You're getting paid to deal with their problems, not with how they feel about it. Now, if it gets to if you need help with how they feel about the problem and they start venting to you or at you, here's what you do. Redirect them to your supervisor so that your supervisor can deal with the people. That's what they pay me for. Because I don't want nobody interrupting the peace and the perspective of my employees, because I need them to do great work every day. So I want to keep it peaceful. Oh, yeah. That's what my job is. Right? And they love it. I had one, my youngest employee said the other day, she kind of laughed with it. She's like, I don't get paid to deal with people. Yeah. No. Once it gets difficult, redirect. If she gets an email, she don't necessarily like. She don't like the tone. She don't like, oh, I feel like I'm getting yelled at right now. You follow me? If she looked at it and she feels like, hey, I feel like I'm getting right, and I don't really know how to respond to this, I just tell her redirect. All she has to do is she'll say, I have one for you, sir. No problem, send it my way. She'll send it over to me. And then I will look at it, and then I will respond to it, send it back to her, and say copy and paste.
Right.
She read, understand, you got me? Yes. Thank you, sir. No problem. Copy and paste. Launch. Gone. She said, that one right there ruffled me. Got me, right? I didn't know how to, okay, no problem. And boom, back to her. She got it. You understand where I'm coming from? Yes, I got it. Okay, no problem. Launch it. It's gone. I might say copy paste. I might say no, forward that, because that need to come from me.
Yeah, that's right.
Because one of the things I tell them is if it's something that you are going to have to use my name to respond to, then use my response. Because if you don't have to use my name anyway, use my response. If you don't have to use my name, copy. You follow me? But this is the environment we have to build. This is what I'm talking about, how you get unstuck. Like if in that situation she gets stuck, she needs to know how to move. Standards that you have already established, it makes it easier for you to know what your next move is going to be. And that not only works on the job, it works in business, it works in your home, it works in your assembly, is you have to have a certain level of structure to everything that you do. And you have to work your way through it. But leaders have to be leaders. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. 32. Spend time journaling. Now, we talked about the importance of that, but it needs to be on our list, is you have to journal. You have to journal. You should be writing down everything. Like every time you get a chance, you'd be writing down everything. If you told me right now that you say, I'm really not good, I'm just using this. You say, I'm really not good with my finances. Most people that come to me for financial matters, if I were to ask them basic questions, they don't have anything wrote down. They don't have anything wrote down. They're winging it most of the time. Most of the people who overspend for groceries are people with no list. You have anything? You go in the store winging it. Go in the store winging it if you want to. You're going to always overspend.
That's why I don't go to the store that sometime. That I stay home. I'm always seeing something that is not on the list.
Not on the list.
How do I stay home?
And you don't take it with you? What is that
I
called?
don't know.
What is that called? Huh?
That's overspending, but I used to do that. But now I go to the supermarket. If it's not on the list, I don't buy it. If it's not circled in the flyers, I don't purchase it. I come right home.
Yeah, it's called impulse spending. Yeah, impulse spending will always get you in trouble. So it takes a level of discipline to get over impulse spending, because we all do it. And it's not something that it's not, well, you're not sinning or anything like that, but it can become a fault, right? And it will work against you financially if you impulse spend, right? And so what I generally tell people is create, like, here's I'm gonna give you a simple way to fix this. We're gonna fix this. When the next time you go into the grocery store, you think? Just guess. Okay, fine. All right, so let's do that. All right, so let's prepare for tomorrow. All right, so here's how we do it. We're gonna use your strategy. So I'm not gonna do anything other than what you feel comfortable doing. So let's use your strategy. You come up with your list. He comes up with his list. Put the list together for one master list. All right. Once you create a master list, now here's what you got to do. Don't have two lists. Let's make them into one list. Once you make them into one list, when you go into the grocery store with that list. Let's go down and buy only what we see on that list. If you see something that's not on the list, but it's in the store and you want it or you need it, then you have another column where you write that in. Right. Now, here's the deal. When you make your list the next time, move that stuff from the right side over into the list. So now you have everything, but you always still want to have that extra column because you're always adding stuff. So now when you look at it, now when you go to the grocery store, if you have that master file, that's
why I get into trouble. That second column.
But the second column you're not getting. You're just
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not getting it. You just documenting. You're just saying,
okay,
this
I got you.
I want, but it wasn't on the list, right?
Okay.
So then the next time you go in, you put it on the left side. Now it's in the list. But see, what will happen is the list will seemingly grow, but every time you go to the store, you won't need something on the list. So when you're looking at it on the list, I'm looking at it. When I look at the list, it's on the list, but I don't need it.
All right.
And that's what you're looking at. So like you're looking at a list. And the best thing to do, like I would say, is create a list and put that list like on an Excel spreadsheet or something. And whenever you want to go to the grocery store, you just print off your list. Like you get to the point where you don't even have to keep doing this every time. You almost have it like where you need it. And everything's about how do I save time? How do I do all of that stuff? And so it's just knowing where things are in the grocery store. This is on aisle 6, this is on aisle 7, this is on aisle. And so you could actually go through and look at it. You follow me? Some people are really good to this point. They'll come home and they'll bring their grocery list home and they'll look at their grocery list and compare it to their list on the Excel spreadsheet, and they can put the prices in based off of the receipt you got. If you put the prices in based off the receipt you got, you can know when prices go up and when prices go down. So when you're looking at your master file,
Yeah, exactly.
So when you go in there, you say, no, I'm not paying $8 for this. I just bought this for $6 last week. No, I'm not doing that. But you see how they're messing with you with the prices. But because you don't have anything to compare it to, you have no knowledge when the price really goes up or when it goes down. It could go up 25 cents. You don't even realize it. It could go up 40 cents. You won't even realize it.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
So there are ways to do it. And some people will be like, no, that doesn't even matter. Well, it doesn't matter to you. But I'm talking to somebody who wants to improve their impulse spending. If you don't, then keep doing what you're doing. But for a person who is looking to improve in that area, be quiet. Let us work. This is what people who are trying to improve in that area should do to improve. If you're not looking to improve in that area, shut up and color. Let everybody else work. That's how it works, right? Nobody always got to hear from you, right? Let other people do what they need to do. Mind your own business. That's the way it works. Does everybody see that? So that's why you have to let everybody focus on what they need to focus on. Everybody's got something to work on. So let people work. But journal, write things down, right? So that you have good data and you can work from data points. Make sense? All right. 33, focus on what you can control. Now, this is what I said this one time before. Own your 20 square feet. Right? Control what you can control. What is about others is about others. What is about you is about you. Focus on what you can control. Okay? $34. Determine your priorities. Determine your priorities. Now, the best way I can help you with that is to give you one of my quotes that deals with that, right? In your daily planning, begin with non-negotiables. In your daily planning, begin with non-negotiables, then those things that are necessary, followed by those things that are important, then those things that should be done, can be done, and fillers. That's how you have to look at it. So whenever you're working through what you're going to do in your prioritization, you want to begin with your non-negotiables first. Those are things that you cannot negotiate. These things must be done, right? Then after you get all your non-negotiables, and they won't be a lot, right? You won't have a lot of non-negotiables, but you'll have some. And however many you have, those are things you can't negotiate your way out of, right? I got to get these things done. But then once you get those in place, then you have to do those things that are necessary for you to do. This is necessary for me to do, right? Then after I get those things that are necessary, then I grab the important things. Then after I get my important things, then I grab the things that should be done. This should be done today. Get those things, then those things that can be done, and then put your fillers in. So you always want to begin with your big rocks. Put your big rocks in first. and then keep going till you get down to your little rocks. Put the sand in last. If you put the sand in first, guess what? You won't get in. Put the sand in last. Because the sand will fill it up. But you got to begin with your big rocks. So let's talk about some non-negotiables real quick, right? Somebody give me one non-negotiable that you have. Just one. Just one non-negotiable.
Reading every morning.
Reading every morning. Now, why is that not a filler? Why is that not something that can be done, should be done, important, necessary? But why did you deem that to be a non-negotiable?
That's something that I have in order that's very important that I do every day.
Okay. What's the reason why you do it?
What's the reason why I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Education, learn more. I have a few different things that I read every morning that I like to stay on top of. And two of the main things is I have daily, I was gifted devotional books, and they each have the date on it. And I refuse to get behind on the date.
Okay. All right. So taking everything you just said, ChatGPT, I have a commitment to continuous learning.
Okay.
Right? So what are you doing? You have a commitment. I am committed to continuous learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible for me to grow without it. I've got to have that every day. And the reason why I have different resources is because then I'm not looking to grow in any one particular area. I have multiple areas that I'm looking to grow in. So I read different things, right? But I'm committed to that every day. That's a non-negotiable, because when I lay down at the end of the day, I want to feel like I've learned something today that I didn't know yesterday. And reading is a great source to help me do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's why I say, know what you want, know why you want it. So when you make it a non-negotiable, it's easy for you to convey that message to other people. Why do I do what do I want? I want to continuously learn. Right? Know why you want it. Does everybody get it? Now, if I say, what is a non-negotiable, and you can't give me one, just think about just sit in that right there for just a little bit. You don't have any non-negotiables, right? If you don't have any non-negotiables, so then I would say, well, where do you begin? Do you begin with things that are necessary? Do you begin with things that are important? Things that should be done? Where do you begin? Where does your day begin? Because I asked for one non-negotiable, right? But you probably have others. But I'm saying, if you don't have any, like, you don't even know what your non-negotiables are. And this is like, remember what I said? Say again, sir?
When you do several things,
yes,
like reading two or more different books per day or per morning, right? And you get addicted to that. That's non-negotiable, right? And there's things you do outside of reading, or whatever it is that, some people might, like to tend to the garden, but it's not every day you go to the garden, because the garden stays the same way every day. If you water the lawn every day, the same grass is there every day until when the summer finishes. But I find that a book is something that we should put in a column that is nothing to negotiate. It's something you must do because you want to achieve or learn or know something. That's a good way to that's a good thing to put in that column.
Well, think about it this way. Like, like I always have ways of thinking about what I do to help me to be committed to it. Let's look at it this way. I'm going to use Carol's example because she says reading is a non-negotiable for her. So now this is going to inspire you on your non-negotiable, right? If you look at your reading blocks as appointments with the author, that's how you have to look at it. You know how you have an appointment with your primary care doctor or an appointment with your dentist or an appointment for an interview or an appointment? Like, you have to look at it that way. Look at it like I have an appointment with the author. Because at that point, the author and I are going to have a conversation because the author has some things to share with me. What time is your appointment, Miss Carol? She'll tell me what time her appointment is. Okay, great. Now, when she has that appointment, guess what? When you go to your appointment with your doctor, you don't take cell phone calls. You don't be trying to watch YouTube. You in with the doctor right now. Right?
Yeah.
So if she view her reading blocks as her appointment with the author, now she can bring her focus in. And now what did she get from the author during that time? She can use her highlighter or she can use her pen or her pencil to write down what she got during that appointment. So if I were to talk to her throughout the day, I say, hey, how was your appointment today? She could tell me. You see how that works? You see how that works?
That's where the highlighter come in handy.
Yeah, everything is about perspective. And you have to set the perspective in your mind so that it becomes important to you. Now, here's the thing. If that time comes for your appointment and you miss it, I missed my appointment. But you got to elevate the priority.
Mm-hmm.
And so by making it a non-negotiable, you don't miss those appointments. See what I'm saying? You build your day around those appointments. If you got a hair appointment, nail appointment, or you got an appointment with the dentist or something like that, you build your day around those appointments. That's why you begin your days when you're daily planning, you begin with your non-negotiables. I'm going to build my day around those non-negotiables. Does that make sense? This is how you
Yes, ma'am.
This is how you become more productive and not just busy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And last, celebrate your successes, right? Recognize and appreciate your achievements, big and small. We kind of talked about that, alluded to it earlier, but celebrate your successes. But you have to document them so that you know what they are. If you keep up with them, at the end of the day, you want to be able to say, behold, that was good. Behold, that was good.
Yes.
Okay. So take a screenshot of that for those of y'all that are in the room. So you have this last portion. I'm going to give you a quote on the next page, and then I'm going to use my time for this evening. All right, here we go. So quote before we get out of here. It's another one of mine that says, set your goals as high as the sky, but the work is done on the ground. So the bar, you like that, right? Set your goals as high as the sky,
Yes.
for the work that's done on the ground. Right? It's important, guys. Important. So whatever you're working on, right? Commit yourself to it to get it done. Seek help when you need it, right? But you're not by yourself. Just be committed to it. Hopefully everybody's still on their journey. We already through the first month almost, right? Working on what you're working on, right? And I'm always here to help if you need it, to help you get through it. If you're waking up and you ain't getting stuff done, something's wrong. Right? Get you a good accountability partner. Right? My accountability partner got out this morning and got it done. Appreciate it. And I got mine in this afternoon. Ready for tomorrow. Get it done. So get you a good accountability partner. Somebody who understands the standard. Somebody that sets goals for themselves and reach them. Then they can help you with yours. No matter what they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
All right.
Too many times we have so many people that doesn't have a set goal or standards. And that ends up derailing those of us who want to set a goal without even realizing that we are derailed.
Yes, sir.
I like that. I like that. That's wonderful. That's beautiful right there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to yield back the balance of my time. I gave you 35, right, effective ways to get unstuck. You may not have to use them all at any one time, but you have 35 different tools that you can use, right? You will have to use them all at some point throughout your lifespan. You may have to use a combination of a few in order to get you unstuck. But whatever it takes in order for you to get unstuck, use the tools that you have. And if none of those tools work, then seek wise counsel, right? And we'll get you moving again. Okay?
Yes.
We'll talk, Dr. Green, and we'll figure out the direction that we'll go, and then we'll jump into something else. But I just want to make sure that you have the data that you need in order to be successful doing what you're doing.
Okay, so we are finished at this point with this segment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Anyone with questions? Anyone in the room has a question?
I would just like to state my one question. Dr. Akins saw where I was coming from, and he said, just hold on. The next thing he put up a quote that answered my question, so I'm content. But I must let you all know that my work schedule is going to be changing, so I will not be able to attend. I don't know when it goes into effect, but I tried to go on Zoom last week, and Dr. Akins, you knew it was me on the phone, and you told me I had to mute myself. And my hours are going to be either 1 to 10 or 2 to 11 p.m., so I won't be able to attend. But I would like to ask you, Sister Green, do you record the Zoom as well as when you're on Facebook? Is that also recorded?
Yes.
Okay, so how will I be able to go back on Zoom to watch what you will do? Because I normally go to Facebook, but I like the features here, where you get screenshots to see what he's putting up as examples. Would I go to Zoom or what?
Okay, we work that out for you.
I'm sorry, you were breaking
We'll
up.
work it out for you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
We will work that out for you because the Zoom is being recorded.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Mhm.
All right. Well, Sister Barr, we're gonna definitely miss you. That's my amen corner right there. I have to figure out what I'm gonna do. But we'll get it to you, right? It's getting recorded, so we have the information, especially like you said, on Facebook, you get to hear it, but you don't get to see the data.
Right.
But you want to be able to see the data. So we appreciate you being faithful. We love you, and keep working hard. But if you need anything, just reach out. We'll help you.
Okay.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Okay. Good enough. Like I said, as long as I can, whenever I get off, I can go on Zoom and see what's what. Even on the nights when you are there and Reverend Green is there, I want to know how I can go to Zoom and retrieve whatever I miss.
Okay.
I'll still be paying my rent though.
All right.
Okay.
Miss Green, this is a non-negotiable.
Uh-oh.
All right. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Absolutely.
All right. As usual, Dr. Akins, we thank you. And okay, we touch bases tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes, we touch bases tomorrow. And I'm not going to pray us out, but I'm going to, say a prayer. We don't need to be prayed out.
Okay.
Nothing. Yes. You know what? Being as it is the end of this segment, Dr. Benjamin, you could do that and do us the honor, right?
I can do what?
You could do us the honor of the prayer.
Oh, you want me to pray us out?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do it. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for the lesson.
Yes, sir.
We thank you for the effective ways of getting unstuck. Help us to take the information and take it into the speed of implementation. We appreciate every gift, every talent, every training, all the tools, the techniques that you have given us to be successful. And we're asking that you give us the discipline, the self-discipline,
Yes, Lord.
the will, the desire, the determination to be the very best version of ourselves possible. We have a mandate to be the salt and the light of the earth. And we appreciate that assignment. We ask that you help us to be in alignment with that assignment. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. God bless you all and thank you all for tuning in wherever you're tuning in on. And may the Lord be with you until we speak again. So, Sister Simplings, God bless you. And we need to promote you to the Amen corner.
I do my best.
Okay. So pardon me? I didn't hear you, Sister Simplings.
I said I will do my best. Can you all hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Appreciate it. All right, so yes, I hear you now, yes. Okay. All right, Sister Brown, a good night, and we will be in touch with whatever you need. If I can't help you to the fullest, I know who to call on that, and we put it together for you. All right. So have a good night, Dr. Ben. All right.
All right.
Good night, everyone. Good night. Salute. All right. And,
Recording stopped.
Thank you.